All right, everybody, welcome to our online lecture today about Snapchat. I know most of you use Snapchat on a daily basis or you're familiar with it, but I wanted to talk to you today about learning how to use Snapchat to tell a story and to help you think sequentially with video and how to think of getting interesting shots to tell a story and also how to piece a story together from the beginning to the middle to the end. So, let's start off with some basics about Snapchat. What is Snapchat? Well, it's a photo and video sharing service where messages appear for a certain amount of seconds or time, and then they, quote, disappear from what the user, the receiver, is able to see. Now, from when the app started in 2011, users could set the length of time that a picture would be viewable, how many times a video would be viewable, and in the case of a picture, it would be from just a few seconds up to 10 seconds, and then the picture would disappear. Now, just a few months back, they did introduce something called limitless snaps, where snaps could continue to be viewed for as long as the person viewing it has the snap open. Now, once they close the snap, it then again disappears like the old snaps used to do. Now, with Snapchat, you can share snaps to individuals who follow you or to anyone via your story. Snaps added to your story disappear after 24 hours. So this is important to know that when you're putting together this little sequence here, really, you want to make this video over the course of a few hours. You don't want to start at, say, Friday and Saturday and Sunday, because those snaps that you took on Friday are going to disappear from your story come Saturday. So make sure that you kind of set some time aside to tell this story. And of course, you can draw on the snaps, add emojis, filters, and text as well. Let's talk a little bit about Snapchat. Snapchat was created by Evan Spiegel, Bobby Murphy, and Reggie Brown when they were students and fraternity brothers at Stanford. The Snapchat prototype was started by Brown and Spiegel. Brown is on the left in this photo, Spiegel is on the right in this photo. And it was started as a project for one of Spiegel's classes while at Stanford. Murphy, the guy in the middle of the picture here, came on board to help write the source code for the app, which was first called Peekaboo and relaunched as Snapchat in September of 2011. Now, Brown claimed that he came up with the idea for the disappearing images and the Snapchat logo, and that Spiegel, the company's CEO, was the business brain of the operation. Eventually, Spiegel and Murphy cut Brown out of the business, and Brown sued, claiming that the idea was his. Now, does this remind you of any other social media company? Of course it does. It should. It sounds like Facebook and the Winklevoss twins and Eduardo Severin, who sued Mark Zuckerberg for pretty much the same thing. And of course, their suit became the basis of the Social Network movie. Now, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago now actually, Snapchat settled the lawsuit with Brown with an undisclosed and confidential settlement. Snapchat has exploded in terms of users. Snapchat has more daily active users than Twitter. In the coming years, mobile video use is going to explode, and really it already has. Mobile video will drive digital content in the years ahead, and that's primarily because we're viewing more and more digital content on our phones, our iPads, devices that we can take on the go with us. And we all do this when we're sitting around waiting. We watch videos, we watch clips, and that's the way kind of the business is going. So companies like Snapchat, who basically traffic in video, are setting themselves up to be kind of the future of communications. Now, Snapchat is a perfect example of how mobile video driving digital content is the new thing, because Snapchat users of the app watch 10 billion with a B videos every single day. But the problem for Snapchat, like a lot of Silicon Valley startups, is that they've built their brand, but now they need to make money. So what we have here is kind of a breakdown of where Snapchat is in terms of revenue. A presentation for potential investors back in 2016 when the company was thinking about going public and becoming a publicly traded company. That presentation for investors showed that Snapchat pulled in $59 million in 2015 and then rise between 500 million and a billion in 2017. Now, remember, revenue does not mean that they're making money. Revenue just means the amount of money Snapchat is taking in. So, as I mentioned, some of that information was leaked when they were giving a presentation to potential investors because the company was in the process of becoming a publicly traded company, and they finally succeeded in doing that in March. Before that, though, the company rebranded itself Snap. It went from Snapchat to Snap in 2016. Now, despite the massive revenues that I just showed you, its user growth has stagnated in the last year or so. Now, the slowing growth plus their inability to cash in on advertising on the app has led to some major losses. In the first quarter of this year, the company lost $2.2 billion, billion with a B. So they're operating in what we call the red. They're operating in a deficit of $2.2 billion. Now, some of those costs were accrued when the company becomes public. They've got to pay out money to investors. Even so, they doubled their losses. If you take all that money out of the equation, they doubled their losses from the previous year. And the company has actually told investors and people in the media during interviews that they don't know if Snapchat, or Snap as it's now known, will ever turn a profit. All right, so let's get into how to use Snapchat. So the first step, obviously, if you haven't used it or you don't have it, is to simply download the app. The app is free and it can be found either in the Apple App Store or in Google Play if you have an Android. Once you download the app, the next thing that you need to do is create a username and password. Now, immediately after opening the app, you're brought right into the Snapchat camera screen. This is one of the four main areas of the app, and you'll notice in this particular screen we have 4 icons across the top and 4 icons there across the bottom. Now, I should mention that the pictures that you're seeing here are from the latest update of Snapchat from just a week or so ago. So if you haven't updated your Snapchat in a while, go ahead and do that so you're working with the latest version, not only so you can follow along here, but also you want to make sure that you're using the latest and greatest stuff. All right, so let's talk about these icons here. Let's start on the top left, the top right, where we see the little lightning bolt with the X. That's your flash. If there's an X, that means the flash is off. If there's no X next to the lightning bolt, then your flash is on. Next to that, on the right side there, is the camera. You click that or tap that to turn the camera from a forward-facing camera to a selfie mode. Now, on the left side there, you see the Snapchat logo is in the top left. If you click on that, that will bring you to your profile and settings. Let's look here on the bottom left of the screen. That's the chat icon. In the middle bottom, that big circle is how you take pictures or video. And on the bottom right is how you get to your stories in the Discover section, where brands and companies and celebrities have their Snapchat feeds that you can follow. You can simply navigate as well between the camera, the chat section, the stories, and the Discover section by swiping left or swiping right, swiping up or down. Just mess around with it. It's a really intuitive app and really kind of fun to use to swipe back and forth. Journalists are on Snapchat. Now, having short clips or pictures that disappear after a few seconds doesn't probably seem ideal for journalists to relay information, but increasingly, news organizations are using Snapchat to reach an audience that, in some cases, has begun to tune them out on air, in print, and increasingly even reading long-form articles online. Now, some organizations like NPR and the BBC use the app to give quick news updates, while other news organizations use it to promote behind-the-scenes content. Essentially, how the sausage is made, how we produce a show, how we produce a magazine. For example, the New Yorker magazine is fairly active on Snapchat, and one of their most popular features is they show how they make the cover of the magazine, how they pick the artwork, how they pick the topic, how they then print the cover, etc. So it's interesting to see that process. Now, some companies, again, like ABC here, you've got this example of Good Morning America, they use it to promote content. They use it to promote what's coming up next on their shows. They also use it to show how their on-air talent interact with each other and guests that they're having on, and how the on-air talent works behind the scenes, again, to peel back the layers so you can see what's happening with your favorite shows. And the quick pictures and quick videos kind of lend themselves to that peek behind the curtain, if you will. All right, now let's talk about creating a story. So creating a story in Snapchat is pretty easy. Now, all along in media production, we've been taught, or if you haven't been taught, you will be taught, that when shooting video on your phone, you should hold the phone horizontally and shoot video horizontally. Now, that's because we're used to watching television, which is a horizontal medium. Movies are a horizontal medium. But in Snapchat, that doesn't quite work because Snapchat is a vertical video world. So to make sure you're doing this right, make sure you hold your phone vertically or up and down. So since this is a video-based class, we're not going to be taking still pictures for our Snapchat story. We're going to be focusing more on shooting video. So the picture on the left is what you see when you're taking a picture or video, and the picture here on the right is what you see after you've taken a video. But for video, which is what this project is about, you'll want to press and hold the circle there, that big circle at the bottom of the screen, and it might take a second, but it will begin to turn red. The white line around the circle will begin to turn red, and then eventually all the white will be red when you reach the maximum time length, which is about 10 seconds. Now, you don't have to shoot a video for the full 10 seconds, but if you want to really get a good sequence or show what's happening, you may need to hold it for that long. Now, once you've shot your video, your screen will look like it does on the right. For video, you can play back the video on that screen to see if you like it or if there are any problems. If you don't like the video, it's simple. All you need to do is click the X in the upper left corner, you'll delete the clip, and then you can go ahead and reshoot it. Along the right side, you'll see those icons, those 5 icons, and we're going to focus on 3 of them. The first one that we're going to focus on is the big T there. The big T allows you to type in a message over the video you're showing using your phone's text function. The pen or crayon looking thing there at the top right allows you to handwrite or draw on the screen, so you can doodle on it, you can write in your own handwriting on the screen rather than that neat text function. You can change the color of the text by messing with a color bar that will appear once you enter in to that pen function. And then the sticky pad takes you to a bunch of emojis and filters that you can add to your clip if you so want. So when we create our story, we have to have an idea of how the story is going to look, because the clips that we shoot are saved in the order that they're shot. So we've got to think, what's my opening shot? What's my second shot? What's my shot that's going to get me to the middle of the story? What's the shot that's going to get me from the middle toward the end? And then what's my closing shot going to be? So the case is, and the key here, is to make sure that you shoot your Snapchat story sequentially. If you're happy with the clip that you've shot there on the right side, you can add it to your story simply by pressing the square with that little plus sign that's on the bottom and send it to My Story. Once you've completed adding all of the clips that you want in order to tell a story, it's time to export the story. So you're asking, why would we want to export the story? Well, if you're posting it on a blog or a website or social media, etc., we need to get the story from Snapchat on there by exporting it. This is something that you may end up doing more and more of if you do, say, maintain a company's social media, or you have a blog. You want to show your Snapchat to people that may not, you may not be following, they're not following you on the app, but you can show it now on a larger platform. So for this particular story, we want to export it to our phone's camera roll, and then we're going to upload it to Tracks. So to do that, on the main camera page, touch the ghost icon in the top left. That will bring you to another screen, kind of that introduction screen there with your name, and you'll see the ghost icon there, and the screen will be black. Up in the top right of the corner, there's a gear icon there. Touch the gear icon, then touch Memories, and then under Save To, you can either choose to save your stories to Memories and Camera Roll, which will save it to Snapchat and the Camera Roll, or just save it to the camera roll. Either one works. If you choose to save it to memories and the camera roll, you're kind of doubling up and maybe protecting yourself in case there's a problem with your phone or something happens in the export process later on, that you've got it saved on your Snapchat and you can always try to re-export it later. Okay, so now that we've changed those settings on there, what you want to do is touch the back buttons and then go back to the camera page, and you can get there either by swiping up from that black page or clicking the circle at the bottom of the page there. What you're going to do now that you're in the camera page is swipe left to bring you to your stories page, and you'll find My Story and touch the first icon, that little down arrow in the circle, and this will save your story to the camera roll because we've saved it in those settings that we just set up. Once you've done that, the story will appear in the camera roll, and you can upload it to your Tracks Dropbox from your phone or by sending it to email, downloading it onto your computer, and then uploading it to Tracks. So what I've done for you on Tracks in the Snapchat lecture below where you're seeing this video here, I've provided a link for you to watch a Snapchat video story that I created. The story is embedded on there, but I know sometimes the browsers that you use don't always work well with Tracks, so I've provided a link as well in case you don't see the video on there, so you can watch the story. Notice in the story there, the snaps are a mix of point of view shots, so like selfie style shots, and then forward facing shots. The story has a beginning, middle, and end. It's nothing exciting. It's about making a chicken dinner there on the grill, but it tells a story and uses principles like sequencing, uses principles like getting different angles, wide, medium, tight shots. You hear Nat sound in the story. You'll hear the chicken when it goes on the grill, the sizzle of the grill. So these are all things that you should consider when putting your Snapchat story together. Think of putting together a video story, except you're just doing it in short little video clips through an app. Your assignment is to create a Snapchat video story. Again, we want video clips, not still frame pictures, of an activity that you're doing this weekend or an event you're going to, or something as mundane as making dinner, studying. Be creative with it. You should have a sequence that tells a sequence of at least 6 video snaps that tell a story. And again, you should have a mix of point of view shots, meaning the forward-facing cameras, and selfie videos in there, just as My Story did. Be sure to include text, either typed or handwritten, on at least one of your snaps, and feel free to use emojis or hand-drawn art when appropriate. Now, I'll be grading these based on how well you sequence your video, if the story has a beginning, middle, and end, and how you utilize some of the Snapchat features. Some reminders. Remember, shoot vertically. Hold your phone up and down. Your snaps saved under your story will disappear 24 hours after you take them, so upload the story ASAP. Now, upload your story from your phone to your Tracks Dropbox by 11:55 on Sunday night. Also, there's a quick quiz to take to show that you actually watched the lecture, i.e. attended class. Taking the quiz is not only a quiz grade, but it serves as your attendance and participation grade for this Friday lecture. So take the quiz. You can take it as many times as you want until 11:55 on Sunday to get the desired grade that you want, which of course for all of you is a perfect score. I think that this will be a fun little exercise for you. So enjoy it, have fun with it, think sequentially, think some good video, think good stories. So enjoy your weekend, have a happy Father's Day, and I will see everybody here on Monday.